Hi, friends. This is Angela. Welcome to Homeschool Unrefined, the podcast where we keep homeschool simple, real, and fun. Today, we're dropping in a bonus mini episode for you. We found some goodies in the archives and thought you'd enjoy a fun surprise in your podcast feed. But first, we need your help. Word of mouth is still the best way to help a podcast grow, so we're calling on you, listeners, to spread the word about Homeschool Unrefined. We're growing, and we're so excited about that, but there are still lots of homeschool parents who haven't found us yet. One of the ways you can help people find us is by sharing us on social media. You know Instagram is our favorite spot on the internet, and it's where many new listeners discover us. So first things first, if you're not following us there, definitely go do that right now. We are at Homeschool Unrefined. Once you're following us, will you share us? Share our posts to your stories. Post about your favorite episodes. Tag your friends in our comments. Tell people why you love Homeschool Unrefined. Help people find us by sharing us. And be sure to tag us when you do. We'll share some of your sharing with our followers. Sharing is caring after all, and it's a great way to connect with like-minded homeschool friends. Okay, thanks for helping us out. And now, here's a bonus mini episode. Okay, so our listener question for this week is about handling naysayers, homeschooling naysayers or skeptics. And how do we respond to anyone who asks us about homeschooling? And maybe, sometimes those people are asking because they're curious, and sometimes there may be a little hint of just something that might sound a little negative in the way that they're asking, or maybe in some of their follow-up questions. And so we thought we would tackle this one today.
A lot of times, I don't know if I've ever gotten a direct naysayer, like homeschooling is bad or whatever. How can you do that? But I do feel like there's a lot behind the questions. Yeah. When people ask me, oh, so you're homeschooling.
Right.
Or, I don't know, just how's that going? Or, what do you do?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think I need to remember with this question when I get questions like this is that I used to feel this way. I used to be the one with the questions. And probably most of you have also been that way. We probably didn't grow up with homeschooling. And if you did, then you might be I think you're in the minority, but a lot of us went to traditional schools, and this was just what you did. And so when the idea of homeschooling first came out or came to you, it was with curiosity or questioning or, I don't understand that. And so I think I have to try and remember that when I'm faced with these questions.
Yeah, and even people who I think have maybe were homeschooled or knew people who were homeschooled when they were kids, it's changed so much. I think homeschooling is so different now that if they have this idea of what they saw homeschooling was, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, this whole picture can develop in their heads. It's not really reality.
Right. So what kinds of things do you do or say, Mara?
Oh my gosh. This is a tough question for me. I don't know if I have definitely not mastered this yet. But I was thinking I really, this is just my own personality. I really don't want people to feel like I am judging them. And I think that is sometimes the assumption is that homeschoolers have made a real strong judgment against public schools and all the people who go to public schools or whatever. So I first get really a little bit uncomfortable and think, oh my gosh, does this person think that I am judging them?
Yep.
And then I don't know, I just try to tell them, we decided to homeschool, and I will often say, yep, we made that decision this year. And, we make that decision every year. It's like a yearly decision.
Yep.
We have to reevaluate every year and see how everybody's doing with it and whatever, so that it's not just like black and white, like homeschooling is the best choice and public school is the worst choice. And I never want that to be what I'm portraying to people.
Yes. I think that's so good. That is what I was going to say too. We did not talk about this, but I do also feel Like, I don't want anybody else to feel like I'm judging their choices.
Yeah.
And so one of the first things I try to do is affirm their choice.
Yes,
or
that's
affirm
good.
the choice, like by saying, yeah, it's a really tough decision. I know, like whatever you choose, there are pros and cons to any kind of educational system. And so it's just such a hard decision to choose what you're going to do educationally for your kids.
That is so good.
And I think most parents can relate to that. Like
Absolutely.
they've probably been like, should we choose this school or this school? Or, is this the best fit for my child or is this? And so
right.
I think I try to just like affirm that it is a tough decision for everybody.
I think that is so good. I'm going to use that.
Yeah. And that we're all just guessing,
Yeah.
We are. We're all just, like trying to make the best decision. But there are no guarantees. And, we're just doing the best we can.
It's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I try not to like say all the reasons why I want to homeschool. Even when they ask me, like people have directly asked me, can you tell like why did you choose homeschooling? What is it?
Yep.
And I'm very hesitant to say all the reasons because I just don't want it to come across as like this is why homeschooling is better.
Yeah.
Than public school. But one thing I do like to say is, well, it's a good balance for our family. It brings us balance as a family.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so I feel like that's a good one. That's another one that I think parents can understand. They can be like, oh, I guess I can see why you'd want to do that then. Because balance is really hard.
Right. That's a good one. Another one, I agree with you. I don't like to list all the reasons, but if I'm going to give just one, I say we like to have flexibility with our schedule.
Yes, yeah.
So like we want to be able to travel if we want to, and then we also want to have flexibility in the day to do things like, go to work with Jeremy or,
yes,
whatever, like take a day trip somewhere or something like that.
Right.
And people can usually get behind that. Like people are usually really receptive to that.
Definitely. That's so good. This is so good. I love that. I think I remember when we did the highly sensitive child episode.
Yep.
And one of the author's advice was get a little soundbite, like practice a little soundbite or just have one in your back pocket so that when people bring this up, then you don't have to, get super nervous and worried about it. It's just what you say. And I want to be able to do that for homeschooling too. So these are really helpful. Thank you.
Yeah.
What you said is so good.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's never helpful, though sometimes we'd like to have a little bit of a snarky response or something like that. Yeah. I don't think it's ever helpful to do that because I want to open up the conversation. I don't want to shut the conversation down.
Right. Well, in my mind, when I am talking to people, I just think, well, that person made a school choice and I made a school choice. I mean, we're all making different choices. Yeah. We're not all going to the exact same school. And I just feel like I would like to portray that homeschool is just one option. It's just one of the options. Yeah. Just like you all did too. Yeah. So I try not to make it like this is so different than all the other. I don't know. Yeah. We're just so different or whatever.
Yeah. So. Yeah. What do you say to people who say, I could never do that? I guess
ask you the same thing.
Oh, okay. Because that's, I think, the thing that I get the most.
Well, it's tough because you don't want to say, yep, it's not for everyone. Or, even that is like, it would make somebody feel like, yeah, you probably couldn't do it. Or,
really?
I don't want to do that. I could say, I don't know.
Yeah, I usually say something like, yeah, I understand. I understand that.
Well, it's always good to affirm.
Yeah.
Very much.
Try and validate them. And then if people say, like, I could just never do all of that work or something like that.
Or I would go crazy.
I would go crazy. I say things like, I'm actually doing less than you probably think.
Yeah. And I often say it's a lot less stressful than you think. Or I sometimes will say, we're less stressed now than we were when we were at school.
Like, or I will say it was hard for me. It's hard for me to have kids in a school where I have to remember things, bring them there by a certain time, pick them up by a certain time, and remember all the things in their backpack and pack them a lunch and all the events and stuff like that. That is actually more stressful for me. I'd rather have them, I'd rather teach them at home.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So I think those are good things because it's all very respectful talk, and that's, I think, the key.
Yeah. Being respectful.
Yeah.
And I don't tend to feel nervous if somebody brings it up. In fact, I really welcome the conversation.
You know, you're different than me.
You get nervous?
I do. I get nervous.
Yeah. I feel like ask me about it.
I just want to say the right thing.
Oh. I'm like, ask me about it so we can talk about it. Because why not? I don't know.
You're an open book.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. Yeah. I just worry that, like, because I'm probably one of the only people they know who homeschool, that whatever I say is like what they're going to think about homeschooling. Or, you know, it's a lot of pressure for me.
Yeah.
So I'm trying not to think about that. And I like these sound bites. I like the things that you said. So I'm going to use those.
Okay.